Okay, so we're ready to dig into this book all about home preserving.
Oh, yeah.
The Ball Complete Book of Home Preserving.
That's a classic.
It is from 2006.
Mhm.
And it's so funny because I'm just kind of looking through it and already I'm like, oh, I want to make everything. I want to
Right.
can everything. My
Right.
pantry is going to be so full of beautiful, colorful jars.
Well, and you know what I think is so cool about this book is that uh, it really captures kind of a moment in time in terms of preserving knowledge,
Mm, yeah.
from that era.
Yeah.
And it's really more than just recipes. It's like a guide to a way of life,
Yeah. Right.
valuing resourcefulness and,
Yeah.
making the most of what you have.
Absolutely. And that's kind of, at the heart of preserving, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, let's take all this abundance
Yeah.
and make it last
Yeah.
so we can enjoy it,
Yeah.
year round. So
Exactly.
let's just start off by clarifying, what is canning? Because, some people might be new to this idea.
Hmm.
So basically, we're talking about using heat to create a little sterile time capsule inside jars so you can enjoy, those peak season flavors all year long.
Exactly.
And this book covers both water bath canning, which is for high acid foods like your jams and jellies.
Right.
And then you've got pressure canning, which is for the low acid foods like your vegetables and meats.
Yeah. It's like having two different preserving toolboxes,
Right.
in one.
Yeah.
One of the things that I thought was really interesting, though, was that there's actually a disclaimer right at the beginning of the book
Oh, really?
that says that the authors can't be held responsible for any hazards that might arise
Oh, wow.
from using the recipes.
Oh,
So it kind of makes you realize how much food safety knowledge has evolved,
that's a good point.
over time.
Yeah, that is a really good point.
Yeah.
It's like a little snapshot of
Yeah.
okay, this is what we knew then, but things,
And things have changed.
they always evolve, right?
Right.
So definitely, make sure you're following safe practices
Mhm.
and being aware of current guidelines.
Absolutely.
Now, I was flipping through this book
Yeah.
and I found some real treasures.
Okay.
Did you know there's a recipe for canned pumpkin?
Wow.
Who knew?
I've never canned pumpkin.
I know. And they even teach you how to make your own pickling spice.
Oh, that's interesting.
I know.
Because you know what making your own pickling spice allows you to do is like customize your pickles
Yeah.
way beyond just dill or sweet.
Yeah.
You can kind of adjust the blend
Oh, total.
for each batch.
Yeah.
Play with different flavors, levels of heat.
Yeah.
And that's something you just don't get,
Yeah.
with the store-bought jars.
Right. And the level of control you have over
Oh,
your pickle,
yeah.
come
I
on.
know, it's a whole new world.
It's a whole new world.
It is.
It is.
Yeah.
So, okay, we talked about the two methods a little bit.
Yeah.
You've got your boiling water bath canning for the high acid stuff, and then the pressure canning,
Which gets a little more intense.
which is a little more intense. Yeah.
Yeah.
So why don't you kind of break down what's the science?
Okay, so the boiling water bath canning
Yeah.
is perfect for those high acid goodies
Yeah.
because the boiling point of water,
Right.
212 degrees Fahrenheit,
Yeah.
is enough to eliminate,
Mm-hmm.
those pesky microorganisms that can cause spoilage.
Yeah.
But then when you get into those low acid foods,
Yeah.
you need to reach a higher temperature,
Right.
which is where a pressure canner comes in.
Okay.
So the pressure allows the steam inside the canner
Yeah.
to get superheated way beyond that 212.
Okay.
So, you're ensuring that everything is safely preserved.
Okay, cool. So this book, really does a nice job of walking you through both methods.
Yeah.
It's like it said, it's not just a recipe collection. It's
Yeah.
really
It's a guide.
yeah.
It's like having a mentor
Yeah,
right there with you.
totally. And yeah.
I really appreciate how they explain, the why behind each step.
Yes. For example, they explain how the gel stage test works
Oh, yeah.
and why it's crucial for determining the right consistency for your jams and preserves.
Right.
Or they even have a tip about using a ruler to measure headspace in the jars,
Huh.
which might seem like a tiny detail, but it's essential for proper sealing.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. So
Yeah.
we've got the methods down.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about the good stuff.
Yeah.
The recipes.
All right, let's get to the recipe.
Because we've got jams, we've got jellies,
We got fruit butters.
fruit butters, preserves,
Butter.
conserves.
Oh, where do we even begin?
Well, I think what's so intriguing about this book is that it really captures the essence of traditional preserving,
Yeah.
but it also offers these modern twists.
Okay.
So, for example, let's take jams and jellies.
Okay.
They cover the classic long boil method,
Right.
but they also have recipes for quicker jams
Okay.
that use pectin. And they even highlight Splenda as the best sugar substitute for canning because it remains stable.
Interesting.
when heated.
Okay.
I mean, that level of detail is pretty impressive.
That is impressive. And I was really surprised by the variety of flavors they have.
Right.
It's not just your basic strawberry and raspberry.
Oh, no.
They've got things like blushing peach almond freezer conserve
Ooh.
and tropical breeze freezer jam.
Now we're talking.
I know.
Yeah.
It's like they're really playing with ingredients in a way that like you don't see at the grocery store.
Exactly. And it's not just about the flavor combinations.
Yeah.
They're also offering like these techniques
Okay.
that really kind of elevate the final product.
Okay.
So for example, did you see the tip about adding butter to reduce foaming while making jam?
No, I didn't see that.
It's a game changer.
Really?
Yeah, it really helps to minimize that foam and gives you a clear, a more beautiful jam.
Oh, that's a good tip. Okay.
Yeah.
So what about fruit butters?
Oh, fruit butters.
I mean, come on.
I know.
Slather that on some toast.
So they suggest using a food mill or a food processor to get that perfectly smooth texture.
Yeah.
But what I thought was really interesting was the suggestion to add a splash of alcohol for an extra layer of flavor.
Oh.
Like imagine a pear butter with a hint of amaretto or a plum butter with a touch of sweet wine.
Okay, now you're making me hungry.
I know, right?
Okay, so let's move on to preserves and conserves.
Okay.
What stands out to you in that section?
Well, I think what sets this book apart
Yeah.
is its emphasis on precision
Yeah.
and really understanding the science behind preserving.
Yeah.
You know, they don't just say like, oh, cook until thickened.
Right.
They guide you through the process of testing for the gel stage.
Right.
To make sure that your jams and preserves set perfectly.
Got it.
And that attention to detail carries over into the recipes themselves.
Okay. So, like, give me an example. Like, what kind of flavors are we talking about here?
Well, they have everything from, you know, the classic strawberry preserves to these more adventurous combinations, like summer solstice preserves, which blends cherries and blueberries.
Ooh, that sounds good.
And they even have a black forest macaroon conserve.
What? A black forest macaroon conserve?
It's like they're encouraging you to get creative.
Yeah, it sounds amazing.
And explore different flavor profiles.
Oh, I love that. Okay.
Yeah.
Marmalades.
Oh, marmalades.
Citrusy goodness.
I know that combination of sweet and tart is just so addictive.
It is.
So they advise starting with the pectin-based recipes.
Okay.
If you're a beginner.
Yeah.
But what really caught my eye was the variety of citrus fruits they use.
Okay.
It's not just your basic orange marmalade.
Yeah, right.
They've got recipes for everything from ginger lemon marmalade to the classic Seville orange marmalade.
Okay, I had a question.
Yeah.
What's so special about Seville oranges?
So Seville oranges have this unique tartness that sets them apart from regular oranges.
Got it.
They're traditionally used in marmalades because they have a really high pectin content, which helps create that beautiful set.
Oh, okay.
And you can sometimes find them fresh in specialty markets.
Okay.
But you can also buy them online.
Oh, cool. Okay, I'm adding that to my list.
Yeah.
Seville orange marmalade. I gotta try that.
It's a must try.
All right. Let's move on to the savory side of things.
Okay, let's get savory.
Pickles, relishes, chutneys.
Oh, this book is like a pickling wonderland.
I know. And it's not just like, here's a recipe.
Right.
They really go into like the different types.
Exactly. They break down the different types of pickles.
Yeah.
So you've got your refrigerated pickles, you've got your fresh pack pickles, your brined pickles, and your fermented pickles.
Wow.
And they explain the science behind each method. And they really delve into the role of vinegar and salt in preserving and creating that tangy flavor.
That's so cool. Yeah. So is there anything that really stands out to you in the pickle section?
Well, I was really intrigued by the recipe for traditional preserved limes.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Have you ever had those?
I haven't. I've heard of them.
They're amazing.
Really?
They become incredibly soft, and they develop this unique, salty, citrusy flavor.
Interesting.
After curing for several weeks.
Wow.
And the book recommends using them as a condiment in relishes, salads, even rice dishes.
Huh.
I mean, it just shows the level of detail and culinary curiosity that this book encourages.
That's cool. And it's not just, you know, throwing a recipe at you. It's like, here's how you can use this.
Exactly. It's a whole culinary venture.
It is. Yeah. It's really cool. Okay, so we've covered a lot in this first section. Before we move on to tomatoes, what has been like your biggest takeaway so far? Or like what's really sparked your curiosity?
Honestly, I'm so impressed by the book's dedication to both safety and creativity.
Yeah.
You know, they don't shy away from the science behind preserving.
Right.
They emphasize the importance of proper techniques.
Yeah.
But they also encourage experimentation.
Yeah.
And, personalizing those flavor profiles.
I love that.
It's a really powerful combination.
I think so, too. What about you? What's got you itching to get in the kitchen and start preserving?
Oh, man. There's so many things like that. Pickling spice. I'm definitely going to experiment with that.
Yeah.
And those unusual flavor combinations like that Black Forest macaroon conserve.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. And that ginger lemon marmalade. Like so many things. But before we go down that rabbit hole,
Okay.
let's talk tomatoes.
All right. Let's tackle those tomatoes.
Because they're a whole other beast.
They are a world unto themselves.
They are.
Yeah.
All right. We'll be right back after a quick break. Sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I really appreciate about this book is just like how comprehensive it is. Like they really thought of everything.
Yeah.
Like any question a home canner might have.
Yeah.
From basic techniques to equipment recommendations, they've got it covered.
Yeah, it goes way beyond just recipes.
Oh, totally.
They even have a whole section on equipment.
Right.
And it's not just about the jars.
Oh, no?
Which, obviously you need jars, but, they talk about pressure canners,
Yes.
and they break it down.
Yeah, they explain the different types.
Yeah.
Weighted gauge versus dial gauge.
Right, and how to use them safely, including altitude adjustments.
Yeah, that's so important.
It's like something you don't always see in a modern recipe blog.
Exactly.
I'll be honest, when I first saw the pressure canning section, I was a little intimidated.
It can be a little daunting.
Yeah, but they break it down step by step, and it's really reassuring to see how much thought they put into safety.
Absolutely. And they explain why those altitude adjustments are so crucial.
Right.
Because the boiling point of water changes at higher altitudes.
Yeah.
Which affects the pressure needed for safe canning.
Right.
It's like science in action.
It is. It is. And they have a whole section on canning utensils.
Oh, yes.
Those little helpers that make the process so much easier.
Yeah.
Jar lifters.
Jar lifters are a must. Oh, my gosh.
Right.
It's amazing how such a simple tool can prevent so many burns.
Yeah.
And make lifting those hot jars so much easier.
So much easier.
Yeah. And they even have tips for using magnetic lid wands.
Oh, yeah.
To safely lift those lids out of the hot water.
It's all about working smarter, not harder.
Right. Exactly.
One technique that always seemed kind of mysterious to me was preventing fruit from browning.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a race against time once you cut those apples or peaches.
True.
Right.
But this book actually demystifies the process.
Okay.
They explain that it's all about preventing oxidation.
Oh, okay.
So they recommend using either a commercial produced protector, which usually contains ascorbic acid, or a simple solution of lemon juice and water.
Oh, wow.
I know. It's so easy.
So easy.
Yeah.
I'm definitely trying that next time I'm working with apples.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing how much food waste you can prevent with just a little bit of knowledge.
Absolutely.
So, okay, let's talk about packing methods for fruit.
Right.
Because this book clearly explains the difference between raw pack and hot pack.
Yes.
And when to use each method, depending on the type of fruit you're preserving.
Right.
And it was interesting to me because they highlighted that certain fruits, like figs, specifically require the hot pack method.
That's a good point. I never would have known that.
I know.
Yeah.
So it's good to have those little details.
Absolutely. It's those little details that can really kind of elevate your preserving game.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's not just about the instructions. They offer these helpful tips and variations along the way.
Like what?
So, for example, suggesting specific types of apples for certain recipes.
Right.
Or offering ideas for substituting ingredients to create unique flavor profiles.
Yeah.
It's like having a personalized preserving coach.
Totally.
Right there with you.
I love that. And don't forget about the produce purchase guide.
Oh, yes.
So helpful.
That's a lifesaver.
Because it helps you estimate how much produce you'll need for each recipe. So you don't end up with a mountain of extra fruit.
Exactly.
Or worse, not enough to fill your jars.
Right.
Okay, so we've talked about packing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about fruits and syrup.
Okay. I mean, I can already picture those glistening jars lined up on the pantry shelf.
It's so beautiful.
It's so satisfying.
It is.
So they showcase a range of options.
Yeah.
From, your basic sugar syrups to more flavorful concoctions.
Okay.
Using fruit juices or even water.
Right.
For those watching their sugar intake.
That's good. They give you options.
They do.
Yeah. And they even address sugar substitutes.
Right.
So they recommend sucralose or Splenda as the most stable option when heated.
Exactly.
So that's good to know.
It is.
And they're not limited to just peaches and pears.
Oh, no.
They have recipes for preserving everything.
Yeah, they've got grapefruit.
Grapefruit, figs, pineapple.
Panning grapefruit.
I know.
Ooh,
It's amazing what you can preserve.
So, okay.
Okay.
Fruits of distinction.
Ooh.
This is where things get fancy.
All right, let's get fancy.
Right.
Because they're elevating those preserves
Yeah.
with luxurious ingredients.
Okay.
Let's wine liqueurs.
Okay, give me some examples because...
All right, so we've got crimson honey grapefruit
Ooh.
with ruby red grapefruit segments,
Okay.
steeped in honey syrup
Mm-hmm.
with a touch of cinnamon. Oh my gosh.
Or how about spiced apricot and almond conserve?
Okay.
That's apricots, almonds, and a hint of brandy.
Okay, stop.
You know,
You're making me hungry.
they're so tempting.
And like, how would you even use these? Like,
Oh, I mean, the possibilities are endless.
yeah.
Cheesecakes,
Oh my god.
ice cream cheese boards, even incorporated into savory dishes.
Wow.
It just opens up a whole new world of flavor.
It does. It's inspiring.
It is.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of sweet territory.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on to the world of pickling.
Okay, let's get pickling.
Because this book is a pickling enthusiast's dream come true.
I know.
They really dive deep
We do.
into like the different types of pickles.
Right. So we talked about those before.
Yeah.
You know, your refrigerated, your fresh pack, your
Yeah.
brined, and your fermented.
Yeah.
And they really explain the science behind each method.
Mm-hmm.
They even delve into the role of vinegar and salt
Yeah.
in preserving and creating that tangy flavor.
Yeah, and they emphasize using the correct type of vinegar, like
Yeah.
white distilled vinegar
Right.
for most recipes.
Exactly, because it has a neutral flavor
Okay.
that won't overpower the other ingredients.
Got it.
And they even caution against using cider vinegar
Oh, really?
for lighter colored produce because it can cause discoloration.
Interesting.
Yeah, so those little nuggets of wisdom
Yeah.
can really
Yeah.
save you
Yeah.
from pickling disasters.
That's good advice. I was also really intrigued by the section on like brined and fermented pickles.
Oh, yeah.
It's always seemed like a bit of a mystery to me,
It can be a little intimidating.
but they explain it in a way that's like
Yeah.
even a novice can understand.
They break down the fermentation process,
Okay.
highlighting the role of lactic acid bacteria
Mm-hmm.
in creating that characteristic tang.
Okay, cool.
And they emphasize the importance of maintaining the correct temperature
Mm-hmm.
and salt concentration
Right.
for successful fermentation.
Yeah. It's fascinating.
It is.
How much science is involved in like
Right.
something as simple as a jar of pickles.
I know, and they even have a recipe for making your own sauerkraut,
Oh, wow.
which is essentially fermented cabbage.
Okay.
So it's like taking a culinary journey back in time
Yeah.
to these traditional preserving methods.
Yeah, it's so cool how these like time-tested techniques are still relevant today.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And it makes you appreciate the ingenuity
Yeah,
and the resourcefulness of our ancestors who developed these methods.
for sure. Okay, so we've talked about pickles.
Yeah.
We've talked about fermented delights.
Mhm.
What has been like your biggest aha moment so far?
You know, honestly, what's impressed me the most
Yeah.
is this book's emphasis on understanding the why
Mm.
behind the what.
Yeah.
They don't just tell you to do something.
Right.
They explain why it's important and how it affects the final product.
Totally.
And it makes you feel like a more confident and informed preserver.
I agree.
Yeah.
And speaking of informed preservers,
Yeah.
let's move on to the star of the show.
All right.
Those juicy tomatoes.
Let's talk tomatoes.
I'm
Let's
ready.
say
They're a
that.
whole other world.
They're a world unto themselves.
Yes. Tomatoes, they're everywhere in the kitchen, but like I have to admit, I'm always a little nervous about canning them
I know what you mean.
because of that whole low acidity thing.
Yeah, you're right to be cautious.
Yeah,
Tomatoes are delicious and versatile,
right.
but their low acidity means they need a little help to be safely preserved.
Okay.
That's where acidification comes in.
And this book like really explains that well.
Oh, absolutely. They emphasize the importance of adding either bottled lemon juice or citric acid
Okay.
to each jar before processing.
Got it.
And it's a simple step, but it makes all the difference in ensuring that your canned tomatoes are safe to enjoy.
Okay. And they even give you like specific measurements for both pint and quart jars.
They do.
So you're not like guessing.
Exactly. It takes the guesswork out of it.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk methods. All right.
Because I see they cover both raw pack and hot pack methods
Right.
for canning whole tomatoes.
That's right. And the choice often comes down to personal preference.
Okay.
So raw packing is a bit simpler.
Okay.
You basically just fill the jars with the raw tomatoes, add the acid and salt, and process them in a boiling water bath.
Okay. Easy peasy.
Pretty straightforward.
And then hot pack?
Hot pack involves heating the tomatoes
Okay,
before packing them into the jars.
got it.
So you can either blanch them quickly in boiling water to loosen the skins,
Okay.
or simmer them for a bit to help release some of their juices.
Oh, okay.
And this can result in a slightly denser pack and a richer flavor.
Okay, so it's really like a texture and flavor preference.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And both methods are equally safe as long as you follow the recommended processing times and temperatures.
That's good to know. And speaking of processing times,
Yes.
they make a really important point about packing tomatoes in juice.
Yes, they do.
So if you choose to use tomato juice instead of water,
You need to increase the processing time to make sure those jars heat all the way through.
Exactly, because that juice adds density, so it takes a bit longer for the heat to penetrate.
That makes sense. Okay, so we've tackled whole tomatoes.
Yes.
Now let's move on to the world of sauces.
Okay, let's get saucy.
Because this is like where the tomatoes really shine.
This is where they come alive.
Right.
So many delicious meals start with a good tomato sauce.
Absolutely. And this book does not disappoint.
Oh no. They offer a variety of recipes,
Okay.
from your classic tomato sauce to more complex blends with herbs and spices, even other vegetables.
Oh, cool. And I saw they have like spice blend recipes, like
Yeah.
the Italian spice blend and the Mexican spice blend,
That's right.
which seems super convenient.
I know, it's all about simplifying the process.
Yeah.
Without sacrificing flavor.
Total. Okay, but now this is where like the safety guidelines become
Yeah.
extra important,
That's
right?
absolutely.
Because we're dealing with low acid ingredients. So they have a recipe for stewed tomatoes and vegetables, which sounds amazing.
Delicious.
But that has to be processed in a pressure canner.
You got it, because it combines those low-acid tomatoes with other low-acid vegetables.
Right.
So it needs that higher heat of a pressure canner to destroy any harmful bacteria.
Okay, good to know. So just a reminder, we're not just preserving flavor here, we're preserving safety.
Safety first.
Oh,
Nice.
Okay. Are you ready for some ketchup?
Oh, I'm always ready for ketchup.
Because I am too.
Bring on the ketchup.
I'm so curious to see how homemade ketchup compares to the store-bought stuff.
Well, according to this book,
Okay.
homemade ketchup is not only tastier,
Okay, I like where this is going.
but also lower in sugar and salt
Really?
than most commercial brands.
Oh, that's a win-win.
It is.
So they have a classic tomato ketchup recipe, but they also offer some interesting variations.
Like that golden tomato ketchup,
Oh, yeah.
which uses yellow tomatoes for a sweeter, milder flavor.
Yeah.
And don't forget about the green tomato ketchup.
Oh, yeah, I saw that one too.
They incorporate apples and spices for a tangy twist.
Huh. Okay, I am adding that to my list.
That's a good one.
Green tomato ketchup. I gotta try it.
Right.
What about barbecue sauces?
Oh, they have several.
Okay.
One that caught my eye was the Victorian barbecue sauce.
Okay.
It's this unique blend of fruits and vegetables and spices with a hint of sweetness and a touch of tang.
Wow, that sounds amazing.
It does.
And they have variations too.
Yeah, they have a sweet and sour sauce, which you can use as a glaze or a dipping sauce.
Oh, that's versatile.
Very versatile.
And of course, we can't forget about chili sauces.
Oh, no, the chili sauces.
Right.
Essential for adding a little kick to your meals.
Right.
So they have a whole range from mild to fiery,
Huh.
each with its own special blend of peppers and spices and other flavorful ingredients.
Cool. And they even give you suggestions for like how to use them,
They do.
which I always appreciate.
Yeah, from classic pairings with hot dogs and meatloaf
Yeah.
to glazing grilled meats or adding a kick to stir fries.
So many possibilities.
I know, it's amazing how much culinary inspiration can be found in a single jar.
It really is. It's like home preserving isn't just about practicality. It's
Right.
about creativity.
It is.
And like exploring new flavors
so.
and just having fun in the kitchen.
And don't forget the satisfaction of creating something delicious and homemade with your own two hands.
That's true. That's true. Okay, well, I think we've officially reached the bottom of this preserving treasure chest.
I think we have.
It's been an incredible journey.
It has.
And I have to say, I am feeling very inspired to dust off my jars and get canning.
Me too. I'm ready to roll up my sleeves and get preserving.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. Well, thank you so much for sharing your expertise and insights with us.
It's been a pleasure exploring this book with you.
The pleasure was all mine. And to all of our listeners out there,
Yes.
we encourage you to embrace the world of home preserving. Don't be afraid to try new recipes.
Experiment with flavors.
Yes.
And most importantly, have fun.
Yes, have fun. That's great advice. And remember,
Hmm.
homemade preserves make fantastic personalized gifts.
Oh, they do.
So start thinking ahead for those upcoming holidays and special occasions.
Absolutely. A jar of homemade jam or a batch of those delicious pickles is a gift that comes straight from the heart.
So true. Well, that wraps up our deep dive into the world of home preserving.
It does.
Thanks for joining us, and happy canning!
Happy canning, everyone.